Hey friends, it's Brooke. I'm in the Delish test kitchen, and if you're tired of seeing your souffle cave in every single time, then you're in the right place. I'm making a rich and decadent, yet still airy, chocolate souffle, and I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks to make it perfect. Souffles are perfect for a dinner party to impress all your friends, but they're also simple enough to make whenever the urge for souffle strikes. Before we even start on the souffle batter, we have to prep these ramekins that the souffle batter is going into. I've got 4 6-ounce ramekins, and the most important step is to butter and sugar the ramekins before we get the batter in there. By putting a layer of coarse sugar into the ramekins, it's going to help the batter climb the sides of the ramekin and get really, really tall instead of getting stuck to the side and staying flat. We're going to take a little bit of extra butter, rub that around the sides of each ramekin, and then sprinkle some sugar in there and dust it around the sides to make sure it's fully coated. Don't forget the rim, because if you forget the rim, the chocolate will get stuck, and then you have a crooked souffle. The most important part of chocolate souffle is obviously the chocolate, and that part matters a lot. So make sure you get a chocolate that you enjoy, that's good to eat. Make sure it's semi-sweet chocolate. Milk chocolate will be a little too sweet. Dark chocolate would actually be okay too if you like a little bit more of a bitter chocolate. I've got a baking bar here that I'm gonna chop up, but you can also use chocolate chips, chocolate chunks, whatever kind of chocolate you have on hand, as long as it'll get nice and melty when you put it in your double boiler. For the base of the souffle, we're gonna get some melted chocolate going, and the way we're gonna do that is in a double boiler. They sell fancy double boilers in the store, but truthfully, you don't need one of those. All you need is a simmering pot of water and a glass bowl or a metal bowl like this one. Most important thing to note is that the bottom of the bowl isn't touching the water. The goal here is to melt the chocolate with gentle heat so that you don't scald it while it's melting. Let me tell y'all a secret. You can also do this in the microwave, but don't tell anybody you did. Tell them you did it in a double boiler and they'll never know. It's fine. So into the double boiler, I'm gonna put our chopped chocolate and some butter. We'll give that a good stir until it's all melted and smooth. Then I'm gonna remove it from the heat and add some vanilla and salt. So our chocolate is all melted and luscious and ready to go. We're gonna let that cool for a second while we work on the eggs. The eggs are the second most important part of the souffle. The whites are what give the souffle its height, and the yolks are what give it its richness. What we're gonna do, separate these eggs. We're gonna whip the whites with a little bit of sugar. You don't wanna skimp on your egg white whipping. This is what's gonna give your souffle that beautiful, tall height that you want. So you wanna make sure you get to a stiff peak. Once your whites are at a soft peak, that's when you'll start adding the sugar, and then keep beating, and be patient until you get a nice stiff peak. We're in the home stretch for our souffle batter, y'all. Last thing we have to do is add the egg yolks one at a time to our chocolate. We're gonna stir really well in between each addition. And after that, we're gonna take some of this whipped egg white, about a half a cup, mix it into the chocolate just to get it nice and incorporated. And then we're gonna gently fold the rest of that whipped egg white into the chocolate so that we keep all those lovely air bubbles we created when we whipped. Our egg whites are all folded in, and I can tell because there's no more white streaks remaining. So when I fold it, I don't get any of that fluffy white foamy bit anymore, which means it's time to put this in our ramekins. So my souffle batter is in the ramekins and ready to go. At this point, you can either wrap them and leave them at room temperature for an hour, or you can stick them in the refrigerator and leave them for up to a day. So this is a great make-ahead dessert. But I'm hungry, so I'm gonna bake mine right now at 375 for about 20 minutes. Time to bake these babies. Okay, so souffle is out of the oven. As you can see, it's already starting to sink just a little bit, but before we dig in, I just wanna show you guys how moist and rich this thing looks, and I'm gonna dust it with a little bit of powdered sugar so we can get the full effect. It's so incredibly chocolatey, but it's not overwhelming. It's still nice and light at the same time around the edges, but in the center is nice and molten chocolate and rich and just absolutely delectable. I love it. This is what you can put out for dinner parties to impress your friends, but it's not too difficult to make whenever you feel like making a souffle. It's absolutely perfect. So now that you've got this technique down, you can really do what you want with it. You can go savory and do like a cheese souffle or a spinach souffle. I love a good carrot souffle for the holidays, or you can even try vanilla or strawberry. Honestly, whatever your heart desires, you can souffle it, I promise. And if you want more desserts like this, keep it right here at delish.com.